everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today we're going to be continuing the Digging Up the Past series with Theros, Born of the Gods, and Journey into Nyx. So, let's get into it with Theros. Starting off with Theros, it was released in September 27th of 2013. The set had the ancient Greek-themed top-down design, making use of many mythological tropes such as heroes, monsters, and gods. This was actually our first time to the plane of Theros. So let's get into our zomboys. First we have Return Centaur for 3 and a black. It's a 2/4 zombie centaur. When it enters the battlefield, target player puts the top 4 cards of his or her library into their graveyard. So you could do yourself if you're looking for a mill theme, or you could do somebody else if you're doing the black-white mill theme. Then we have our favorite, Gary, as he's known by in the community. But his real name is Grey Merchant of Asphodel. For 3 and 2 black, you get a zombie. It is a 2/4. And when he enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way. And devotion is for each mana color pip of that color in permanents you control counts towards your devotion to that color. Returned Phalanx. I think I'm saying it right. I love this art actually. I think this is one of the more underestimated or underappreciated pieces of art that has been done. And would you look at there, it's done by Mr. Seb McKinnon himself. But for 1 and a black, you get a zombie soldier that's a 3/3, and it has defender. Could have been used on such a better card. But for a 1 and a blue, Return Phalanx can attack this turn as though it didn't have defender. So for 4 mana, you have a 3/3. It's subpar, but if you're playing, like I said, you're playing that zombie wall deck, have at it. But I actually would be careful because this does have that blue pip in it, so you'd have to play in like a multicolor deck. Then we get into the rares. Timarith the Murder King. For a black and a red, it's a 2/2 zombie warrior legendary. And it has 2 abilities. One that says 1 and a red, sacrifice another creature. It deals 2 damage to target player. Or for 1 and a black, sacrifice a creature, return it from your graveyard to your hand. So you actually can use both of his abilities wherever he's at, which is actually pretty unique. You don't see a lot of those that bring themselves back that have the inactivated ability in the graveyard. And then we're getting into Born of the Gods. It was our 63rd Magic expansion. It was released on February 7th, 2014. The set contained the highly anticipated Kiora since her introduction into Duels of the Planeswalkers of 2012. Into the boys. Servant of Timarith for 2 and a black. It's a 1/3 zombie. It has the ability Inspired. So whenever it becomes untapped, each opponent loses a life, and you gain life lost. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. So it's like a Gary, but it happens every turn. But it's only for 1 life, so it can't be that bad. This could be a very good blocker, because if you block with it, as long as it doesn't like get like neg counters or something to where it can't regenerate, you can block with it, regenerate, and on your turn it untaps and everybody loses, depending on how many players you have. So if you have 3, you gain 3, or if you have 2, you gain 2, etc., etc. But this still could be like a good politics drain card. Forsaken Drifters for 3 and a black. It's a 4/2 zombie. When it dies, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. So this is more of the self-mill theme. But I like this artwork too. It's pretty cool. Spiteful Return for 1 and a black. It is a 1/1 enchantment creature zombie. It has the mechanic Bestow for 3 and a black. So basically you can just you can cast this as an aura spell and enchant a creature. But whenever Spiteful Return or enchanted creature attacks, defending player loses 2 life. An enchanted creature gets +1/+1. So it buffs it up and it gives it an ability to, whenever it attacks, they lose life. It could be pretty good in a big attack heavy strategy. Black Oak of Adunos. I couldn't tell you. For 2 and a black, it's a 0/5 zombie treefolk with defender. For a black, it has the ability to tap another untapped creature you control. It gets +1/+1 to end a turn. Don't see how that's relevant, but you can build that zombie wall deck. Odonos River Trawler. Okay, River Trawler. For 2 and a black, it's a 2/2 zombie. Whenever it enters the battlefield, return target enchantment creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So you can bring that Spiteful Reveler back if it dies. And then for a white, sacrifice this creature, return target enchantment creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So it kind of does it twice, which is not bad for 4 mana. Yeah, I kind of dig this, but you have to play this in a deck that does allow you to play white. Forlorn Sudama. That's an interesting word I've never seen before. For 3 and a black, it's a 2/1. There's a lot of 4-cost zombies in this set. Woo! For 3 and a black, it's a zombie with Intimidate. It's a 2/1. So Intimidate says whenever it can't be blocked except for by creatures that are artifacts or creatures of the same color. Whenever it becomes untapped, you may pay 2 and a black. If you do, put a 2/2 black zombie enchantment creature token onto the battlefield, which is pretty neat. Then we're going to get into a little bit of the uncommons. Siren of the Silent Song. I didn't know this was a zombie for the longest time. But for 1, a blue and a black, it's a zombie siren. It has flying, and whenever it has inspired, and when it becomes untapped, each opponent discards a card and puts the top card of his or her library into their graveyard. So feeding into that discard theme. And then we're going to get into our last one, Journey into Nyx. This was the 64th expansion and the last set in the Theros block, released in May 2014, fitting in with the Enchantment Matters theme. 59 of the set's 165 cards carry the enchantment type. The set also includes the newly introduced Lamia creature type. And we're going to start it off with Returned Reveler. For 1 and a black, it's a 1/3 zombie satyr. And whenever it dies, each player puts the top 3 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. Which is actually, that's a pretty good rate. I know now we have cards that do a little bit more on it, but you know, it is what it is. Still pretty good if you need more redundant effects. Grim Guardian for 2 and a black. Enchantment creature zombie. It's a 1/4, and it has the ability Constellation. Whenever Grim Guardian or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. So there are some crazy loops you can get into with this one. I think there's an infinite combo with it, Parallax Wave, and Journey. No, something else. But there is a combo based around this one. Agent of Erebos. For 3 and a black, it's a 2/2 enchantment creature zombie. It also has Constellation. Whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, exile all cards from target players' graveyards. So if you have a way to constantly blink back enchantment creatures, you can just exile all your opponent's graveyards consistently. Then we get into our affiliate cards that make zombies or deal with zombies. And we're going to first look at Ritual of the Returned. For 3 and a black, it's an instant. You can exile target creature card from your graveyard, put a black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Its power is equal to that card's power, and its toughness is equal to that card's toughness. So it just doesn't have any abilities. So you don't want to exile anything too good with this. And that's going to be it for today, guys. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me. If this is the kind of content you want to see more of, like, subscribe. If you played during Theros blog, let me know, because I wasn't even in the game at this time yet either. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.